Joining me now, the president of the American Insurance Association, former Montana Governor Mark Racicot, and California Insurance Commissioner Steve Poizner. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Commissioner Poizner, if I can go to you, do you have a thought on these new revelations that arson may have caused at least some of these fires?
Well, first of all, the devastation from these fires, just terrible, and my hearts go out to all these victims. Yesterday, I was touring some of the areas that have been devastated, over 1,400 homes totally destroyed. I have 300 fraud investigators, police officers now, who are examining a whole host of potential fraud aspects to these terrible fires.
Commissioner, how do these arson charges, and how might they, if they are confirmed, corroborated, and so forth, how does this affect insurance?
Well, in general, it doesn't impact victims. It does impact the person who might be part of the conspiracy to set a fire. It might impact that person's insurance payments, but it won't impact the payments of insurance to victims. And of course, there's so many victims out there. By the way, it's not just arson that we're investigating. There's also scam artists that show up like clockwork. Every time there's a natural disaster, they come to these areas, pretend to be contractors or claims adjusters. So I have dozens of fraud investigators now in the field, making sure that victims aren't exploited by these scam artists.
All right, just one more. We may have lost him. Is Governor Racicot on? Do we still have him? Mark, all right. Governor, we're going to go to you. Thank you, sir, very much. You know, on one of the other news shows last night, former California insurance commissioner took a cheap shot at insurance companies. I guess that's to be expected from some of these far-left guys. I just want to ask you, in some sense, on behalf of all the people who may be victims, what is the health and state of the insurance companies that are operating to insure these California homes?
Well, as the commissioner knows, Larry, those insurance companies have to pass solvency tests, and so every one of them is strong and viable. The only reason that our companies exist is to take care of their policyholders when those policyholders are in harm's way or are hurt. So they're rushing to the scene much as we would deploy our military, with adjusters and mobile vans, claims personnel, people taking care of their friends and neighbors and those who have found themselves in harm's way.
Governor, who are the biggest operators? I guess State Farm is one of them. Can you name just a couple others who are operating in California?
Well, Zurich, in the form of Farmers, is there. Safeco is there. State Farm, of course, is not one of our members, but they're there. There's a whole long list of companies. We know that we have 4 of our companies who operate in the state of California and are there on scene with all of their claims personnel and mobile vans and all of the resources that they can bring to bear to make certain that they can be found and that they can process claims quickly, help people with business interruption, remedies that might be available, temporary housing, anything that they can think of.
So they're on the ground now is what you're saying?
They're
already on the ground, even during this disaster?
Yes, sir. They've been on the ground, and they've been responding, and they've been available. There'll be ads in the newspaper, on the Internet, over television, radio. They can be contacted by virtually any electronic means, and they're ready and anxious to work claims and to help people who are the objects of this extraordinary calamity.
How fast are payouts made? You've got terrible stories out there. I don't know, married couples, recently married couples moved into their home. The home's, burnt away by these fires. How fast these get made?
Well, once you can get on the scene and actually have an adjuster make an assessment and go through all of the documentation that you would normally have to establish ownership, it really doesn't take all that long to ultimately come to a determination based upon the policies that are in place and the language that's approved by the state in those policies. Once you get the information and you have appropriate contact with our policyholders, then you can move with some degree of speed and dispatch.
What happens with small businesses? Can you walk us through? Now, your members would be insuring small businesses against fire and other issues?
Absolutely. In terms of the physical damage, of course, the fire damage will be, again, adjusted and assessed. And then, of course, in addition to that, there are many, many of our policyholders who are either small or large businesses that have business interruption insurance. And That is designed to take care of them, address their damages during the time that they're getting back up on their feet and operating. Everything from trying to determine a new location to bringing back more products and services that may have been destroyed in the fire. Everything that you can think of that is addressed in the policy, designed to get people back on their feet, back involved with a viable economy.
And last one, I read an interesting bit in the paper that insurance rates don't go up during these disasters because it's happened before. I believe they were talking about State Farm, which is an old and reputable insurance company, but actually insurance prices and rates don't rise. This is all sort of built in to the cost estimate.
Well, they do try to model, and that's why it's so difficult sometimes for people to understand with insurance companies that they have to plan for 2 decades, 2 decades in front of them, and they have enough reserves available to address all of the possibilities for calamity that exist during that period of time. And talking about rates now, of course, is an incredibly premature discussion because we're so focused on recovery. But in the end, that's based upon a whole host of considerations, and that involves everything from mitigation efforts to history to predictability, all of the kinds of criteria that you would imagine as a matter of common sense would go into setting a rate.
All right, Governor Mark Racicot, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Many thanks also to California Insurance Commissioner Steve Poizner. We lost him earlier. Coming up on the program, are you ready for